Wednesday, March 5th edition of the Carolina Weather Video. Meteorologist Matthew East here along with you. What a cold day we had yesterday across the region. It was a struggle to slowly try to climb a degree or two above freezing in the Triad, and not a whole lot warmer in many other spots across the state of North Carolina. 38 the high in Raleigh, only 32 in Jacksonville and Greenville. 41 the high in Charlotte, 40 down in Columbia. Now these are 5:30 a.m. temperatures on our Wednesday morning, at or just below freezing in many spots across the region. And we do have some early morning precipitation moving through. That is the broad perspective on the radar. It's light rain and in some instances light freezing rain here through parts of North Carolina. None of it is very heavy, but places like Wadesboro up into parts of Richmond County, Montgomery County, and points east from there, seeing a little bit of light freezing rain. Same story, even over to the eastern parts of the state, right along into at least near the coast over there in eastern North Carolina. Now, light is the operative word here. None of this is very, very heavy at all, but enough that maybe a couple spots picking up a minor glazing of ice early this morning on some elevated surfaces. But this precip will be in and out in fairly short order as that area of low pressure slides by off to the south of us. And in the wake of it, should be a warmer day today. I think we'll see a little bit more in the way of some sunshine working in as the day progresses. Behind that departing low and highs, probably a solid 10 to 15 at least degrees warmer than what we saw yesterday. Now there comes the next area of low pressure forming in the Gulf of Mexico tomorrow. That will spread our next round of precipitation in here Thursday, late in the day, later tomorrow, and into especially tomorrow night and Friday morning as that low pressure moves up the coastal waters of the Carolinas. Now, I'll show you a lot of the detailed modeling in just a second, but here are the NAM model ice accumulations there, indicating roughly a tenth of an inch of ice in some spots in northern and northwestern North Carolina. The RPM model decently in agreement with the general scenario of a little bit of ice in some spots, and that extends even down into southern North Carolina in some spots as well. Now, very quickly, the ski resort information, and then I'll show you some of the more detailed modeling. Considering it's a month of March, the ski resorts are doing very, very nicely. So here's the incoming system in the upper levels. That's the European model for today. There's your system beginning to form through Texas and Oklahoma. It should form into a cutoff low as it moves through the southeast. That's what it looks like early Friday afternoon on the European model. Now, You look at that at face value, and you would think that is a perfect snow setup for the western Carolinas. But there are some issues here. Let's go, first of all, before I delve deeper into the European, this is the Canadian representation, and the trend in a lot of the modeling is for the temperatures aloft to be warmer with the most recent cycles of models compared to what we have seen previously. So instead of it being a scenario where in this heavy band on the northwest side of the low you get what I thought had the potential at least to be some heavy snow in some areas, the temperatures aloft at the moment are looking too warm for that. Now it's close, it's very close. You'll see that in just a second. But that's kind of been the trend of late. Now back to the European. That's what it looks like at 48 hours. Low pressure near the Big Bend region of Florida. This is tomorrow early evening. High pressure over the northeast, very pronounced cold air damming underway. And then 12 hours later, there's your low off of the South Carolina coast and a lot of precip over much of the Carolinas. Now, the temperature profile at that point in time, there's your surface temperatures, and it pops in. There you go. Below freezing, I-40 in points north and northwest North Carolina. 850 millibar temperatures, though. Colder than 4 degrees above 0 Celsius, but notice the 0 degree line off to the north. So you're looking at a lot of probably 2-3 degree temperatures there at 850 millibars, which is a little too warm for snow. We go to 66 hours on the European. Heavy precipitation still over the western Carolinas. That's through Friday morning. Surface temperatures have warmed above freezing, taking that model at face value. Now, this was the 0Z run of the GFS. It was weaker with the upper level wave, and therefore you got very little precipitation, if any, back into the mountains and the foothills. Most of it was from I-85 and points east, and it was warm enough in most spots for rain, although there is still the freezing rain potential being indicated in a couple spots there too. Now let me go to the NAM. That's what it looked like on the 6Z run, closed upper low over the South Carolina coastal plain. There's your precipitation spilling through much of the Carolinas. But again, let's look at temperatures aloft. These are 850 millibar temperatures, and it's much, much warmer now. Very warm, considering the type of system you're looking at aloft. So that would be indicative of really no opportunities for snow on that particular model. And surface temperatures, there's your freezing line on the NAM, actually up near the Virginia border. But looking at some of the more higher resolution data, the freezing line does indeed dip down pretty far into North Carolina. Finally, before I show you the WPC probabilities, here's the 6C GFS just in-house. There you go. There's your precipitation chart for 54 hours. And still not as far north and west as a lot of the other modeling, but you do have sub-freezing temperatures dipping down pretty far south into North Carolina by Friday morning. And then the system slowly works away as you get deeper into Friday. So again, the GFS would be indicative of some freezing rain potential in parts of North Carolina for a period of time. And the WPC is on board with that scenario. There's your snow probabilities, not much there, but some opportunity. And I will say, some models still are printing out some snow up toward the foothills and the mountains with those 850 millibar temperatures, not much above freezing. But it looks like now the trend, again, has been for a decrease in the potential for snow and an increase in the potential for a period of freezing rain in some spots. So let's look at those ice probabilities. That is the probabilities, those are the probabilities, rather, for 1/100th of an inch of ice tomorrow night into Friday morning. Pretty high probabilities, actually, in much the western half of North Carolina and into northern South Carolina. And there's your probabilities for 1/10th of an inch of ice. Still some pretty decently high probabilities in western North Carolina, and there's your 1/4 inch probabilities. Those numbers really going down. So that's sort of the scenario we're looking at here as this upper level energy pivots on through the region. Again, you look at that at face value, and a lot of times that would be indicative of some heavy wet snow on the northwest side of that. But at least as it's being modeled right now, the temperatures aloft are looking a little too warm for that. But we do need to monitor the freezing rain potential, at least for a period of time, tomorrow night into Friday morning. All right, that is it for today's edition of the Carolina Weather Video. Thanks for watching. Have a great Wednesday, and God bless.